Hey, Mark. Thanks for being on, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out. So, Mark is a friend of mine. He runs Everyday Kitchen with his wife. He's got a lot more crazy things about him. I actually was introduced to him as producer Mark from the Justin and Greg show. So, but I can't fill in everything. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and then Everyday Kitchen too.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so like you said, my name's Mark. My wife and I, my wife Katie and I, we run the Everyday Kitchen, which is North America's first sourdough donut shop, and that's located right here in Regina, Saskatchewan. And so we do sourdough donuts as well as a full coffee bar. So yeah, we're located right in the historic warehouse district in Regina. Before that, I ran a marketing agency with a friend of mine, and yeah, and so I've we dabbled in marketing and now entrepreneurship and business ownership. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So I did say before that I knew you as producer Mark, and you worked on the Justin and Greg show as the behind the scenes, I guess, producer. You did all the other stuff that they weren't able to do at the time, so sound and upload and any kind of tech stuff in the background.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it,
yeah. So they were one of the first like Facebook Live shows
yeah,
that was really like regular. So yeah, I got to help out with that.
yeah, and yeah, I've been trying to get them on, but with Greg starting up as the new host of Z99's show there, and
Yeah,
Justin's been crazy to get a hold of too. But hopefully, I'll be able to kind of book him in one of these times. But it's great to have one of the trio in because you were behind the scenes, and I don't think you got enough respect because I'm doing this now as a solo project
fair enough.
or a solo act,
Yeah,
and it is tough, man. Like to get everything together and make sure everything goes smoothly, and if something breaks, it's the end of the world. But trying to make it not seem so anyway. Um,
totally.
so going from the marketing side of things, like why donuts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that was more my wife. So when our second son was born at the beginning of 2018, I quit my full time job, which was marketing for an automotive group, and started a marketing agency. Like I said, we specialized or focused in on Facebook and Instagram ads for various kinds of businesses or organizations. And at the same time, Katie, about 6 months before that had started, she developed a sourdough donut recipe out of our house. Just a way she's always done baking and kind of sold baking and stuff on the side. But she got fascinated with sourdough and at the same time wanted to make a donut because our oldest son hadn't had any donuts ever. She wanted something a little healthier. So kind of simultaneously, it worked really well actually because I was working from home was my office primarily, and she was working from home, and so it was a really great tandem for us to be able to help each other out and look after the kids when the other one needed it. And so from there, she started to pursue the donut thing a little bit more, and it got busier and busier until we had a meeting with a gentleman named Tim Schultz, and he's the landlord of the building that we're in right now. And we were looking just to rent some commercial kitchen space. He had a commercial kitchen that he was renting out to different vendors. And through that conversation, it just kind of led to why don't you guys just open a coffee and donut shop? At which point Katie said, yeah. And I said, okay. And so it was just a really, um, it wasn't by chance, but it was just a really fortunate series of events that took us there. And so it was just a step of really actually just looking to try to get the production out of our house instead. And then it led us down the road to where we are. So I didn't have any plans though of kind of joining the donut or coffee side of things when we
Yeah.
first kind of had headed down that path. So yeah.
I remember when you had started it, you were just helping Katie out, and this was just something where you're going to use your skills as a marketer to assist in that. And then I think it just exploded. I haven't seen a lot of businesses immediately get the traction that you guys did right out of the gate. It was awesome to see like someone local and some people that I knew and really respected like be able to do that. So what
Yeah.
was the key to that success of just getting that off the
You
ground?
know, I would love to say that it had anything to do with my marketing, but honestly, it was Katie had done an incredible job of using her Instagram account to build up a really loyal following. And so how it worked from the house was once a week she would post in her stories, or sorry, she would post, and then once a week on Tuesday evenings, our online store would go live, and she would just preload the inventory, and once it was sold out, it was sold out. And so anywhere between 300 and 440 donuts was the max she could make out of the house. And they would be gone in anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes every week. And
That's
so it was
crazy.
only once a week, right? So it was a bit of a risk, like it was a big jump. But because of that, she had a really diehard following. Like her, I think, when we opened, she had built up her account to about 5,000 followers, but really always highly engaged from a metric standpoint. I don't know how granular or how nerdy you want me to go, but obviously metrics are everything when you're marketing to actually know how effective it is. And so her engagement rate was minimum 20% across the board on Instagram, organically all the time. And so when we opened, it just translated, and then that word of mouth spread. I mean, the other side of it, so that's kind of the organic grassroots marketing side. And then the other side of it was that she developed a really unique world-class product. And so, it's one thing you see it in today often where businesses or brands, they can build up a lot of hype around a launch. But if the product doesn't match that hype or exceed it, they just kind of fizzle out over time. But in Katie's case, like with the recipe and with the product and how she's continued to innovate with it, that just hasn't been the case. And so that, it was kind of a perfect storm. And to be honest with you, it was just a perfect storm. And we were the first kind of artisanal donut shop to market in the city. So there's just a lot of things that all lined up all at once, that looked like it was easy or super successful right off the start, but it was actually just a ton of hard work on her part, crafting her posts and using her organic following really, really well.
Well, if we could geek out about data too a little bit, because this is primarily just something around marketing. The thing that surprises me about that is you have all these people that have food-centric social media. And that's food is appealing to everyone, especially when it's baked goods. You'll get people from all over the world. What helped keep things local that then translated into people actually coming in to purchase donuts?
Yeah, I think it was Katie. So instead of it being a food-based or product-based page or brand, Katie was really the brand of the everyday kitchen and of the product. So it was just as much her personal life, her showing up on her feed, in stories, constantly every day, as well as the product, right? And originally, because it, how that core kind of diehard fan group started was donuts were really one day a week. They were Saturdays, and so that's kind of when you'd see the content. You'd see a little bit here and out there throughout, but the rest of the content was Katie and our kids, and unfortunately me and our life. And so it was, it was one of those things where it was just, she set out to do it differently, not for the sake of just being different, but just to, I think to try it. She saw a gap in how businesses were using their social. And honestly, back then, like locally, especially, no one locally was even really using Instagram at all. Like, you think 2017, early 2018, like small businesses in town weren't really using their social media channels in an effective way. And so yeah, a lot of it just boiled down to her really being purposeful in it and having a personality attached to the brand to start with.
Yep. Awesome. I love how much you guys support each other and everything. And I know that this is her baby, but like the amount of work that I've seen you just personally step up and take on and then go, okay, this is my full-time gig now. Like it's really cool. And I'd love to get Katie on and even actually both of you guys on at some point, but obviously there's some stuff that's kind of tying Katie up. Yeah. Is that okay if we talk about it now? Do you want to?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, she's actually been, Katie's not transitioning out of the business, but I mean, we're expecting our third baby any day here. So yeah, so she doesn't do much of, we try to get her to not do much of anything right now, other than just tying up loose ends,
Yeah.
to be off for a few weeks. I think I can probably keep her away for about 6 weeks. That's about the max that I think I can keep her away. But yeah, we actually, when she set out to do this, out of that first meeting with Tim, it was the idea that we weren't going to be in the business 16 hours a day, every day for 20 years. That just wasn't how we were going to run the business. And whether that succeeded or not was fine. We were going to just try a different model that worked for our family, because that's what worked when we were doing it from home. And so it's been a really hectic 2 years, obviously, but we have a great management team now in place, and Katie's been working with our kitchen manager since September last year, and really, just trying to pass on as much information and knowledge as possible. And so it's a learning curve for everybody in every role, right? As the business grows, I learn new things every day. Katie learns new things, and our team's learning new things. So, we're not involved, but we're trying to be less hands-on every day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, congratulations. I know what that's going to be like, is to try to get her to step back and like take a break and like sit down. And it's not an easy thing, but you guys have always from the start had a plan, and that's been nice to see, and seeing it execute like successfully. This is obviously what you said, National Donut Day, so you're going crazy today in general.
We did a new product today. We did like Long John, so like just a long stuffed donut with a whipped cream filling, but we had never done anything like that before. Stuffed donuts, actually an interesting tidbit. Stuffed donuts for us with sourdough, they can become a more difficult product because the proofing, everything's ambient proofed here, meaning it just sits out in the space to proof. We don't use proofers to do it. And so we just lack control sometimes over how the product turns out, because it's a natural product. So yeah, but they turned out, and it was really good. It's been awesome. And so, people love new things, whether it's a new drink or a new donut or a new flavor. So anytime there's something new, people kind of go a little bonkers for it.
I'm the worst, because as much as I try to get out there to try the new things, they're always gone. And I'm so bad about pre-ordering stuff.
Yeah, they were gone at like 8. Like, I mean, we really work our hardest as a small business to try to make things accessible for people, right? So there's like, you can order for citywide delivery, you can order for pickup and come anytime that day, or you can walk in and get it, right? So we have 3 different ways, but still, I mean, people are always disappointed because the keeners are on right at 7, or there's a lineup out the door like this morning, at 7 to get the product. And because we use a shared space, and because the donuts take 48 hours to make, we can't just make more, right? Like it's impossible.
That's actually
we're out.
That's the answer to a question that I was asked when I was talking about you guys. Is like, well, why don't they just make more? As if it's that easy, right? So you're saying it's a limited amount of time and space.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, we share a kitchen, first of all. So whether we're making 600 donuts or like a day like today and tomorrow we're making 1,400 donuts, we have to be out of the kitchen by 8:30, no matter what's going on. And so it just limits how much we can make. Like I said before, because of the nature of the product, we can't just cut 1,400 Long Johns. It doesn't work that way with how we have to roll the dough, the air in the dough. I mean, we could get really scientific on it, but it just doesn't work that way. And honestly, like, exclusivity isn't a bad thing all the time. Like, it turns some people off, and eventually they stop trying, or, and that's unfortunate. We're working. That's part of why we're, hoping to, why we are expanding and we're building a new facility, is that we want to try to serve as many people as possible. But at the end of the day, when we're out, there's just nothing more we can do about it. So,
so you guys aren't really sharing a kitchen anymore, at least in the near future, because you do have a new space. When's that going to be happening?
Yeah, so we're targeting August. I think we'll probably move in sometime in August as a team. Probably do like a week or 2 of being open in there, and then we're targeting a big grand opening on September long weekend.
Sweet. That's awesome. This will be out a little bit before then, and after, so hopefully everyone can give some congratulations on your Instagram and
awesome.
Facebook there. Um, so besides that, have you guys thought about additional locations, or are you kind of like playing it as safe as you can, but still trying to be as smart going forward?
Yeah, for sure. There's always an element of risk, right, involved when you are looking at any business or expansion or anything like that. So we have a location that's coming out in the east side of the city, hopefully this year. That one, we just don't have control over the timeline fully because we're not the ones building it. There's a developer doing it, and we're part of a group of businesses going in. So it's really up to the developer, but we're hoping that's going to be November. And so part of the catalyst for us moving and building a new space was to be able to facilitate making enough product for two locations. We needed a new kitchen and we needed our own kitchen space. So when we were in the process of looking for a kitchen, the building across the street kind of came up. And then it just made sense to build a production facility, storage, and then also a brand new coffee bar with that as well. So yeah.
Sweet. No, that's awesome. Can't wait to see that. I do want to touch on something that you probably answered a million times as a small business owner in 2020.
Yeah.
COVID. So when did you open up your doors the first time? That was
So we
2019?
opened, yeah, September 7th, 2019 was our first day operational.
Right.
We ran kind of more limited hours through September. And then starting beginning of October, we were open our like 6 days a week.
So not even a year in, half a year. And
Yeah,
all of a
we were
sudden,
6 months, 5 months in. Yeah. And then COVID hit, which was honestly, it was really stressful. And I'm sure once my baby is born and we open the other shop and I get some time to actually think about my life over the last year and a half, I'll probably realize I have PTSD. But the reality was we were still in startup mode. Being only like 5 or 6 months into a business and having never run like a brick and mortar anything before. So for us to adapt and change quickly wasn't out of the realm of possibility. I don't want to say it wasn't difficult. It was extremely difficult, but it was just something we were already doing every week. And so it didn't really matter that we had to change. I mean, we did it really fast. Like they announced the restrictions, and that weekend we built our pickup website, built out a system for curbside pickup, which we hadn't done. Really up until then, no one had done curbside pickup because why would you?
Yeah.
And then we built a delivery site and set up a whole delivery system. And so with that, and then we launched that all on Monday morning, not knowing how it would work or if it would work. So, but it worked really well because we closed Saturday like we normally did in store. And then Monday morning we were open just with different options. And fortunately for us, we were one of the only places that chose to stay open for the first few weeks. And, people like comfort food and donuts. And, we're in that affordable luxury category, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. You're willing to afford a more expensive coffee or a treat with a donut or a beer, something like that, but maybe not necessarily that, $200 pair of jeans. And so yeah, we just exploded over the first few months of COVID. We had some unique press coverage. Katie and I decided to donate 100% of the profits from the business to different charities over the first 2 months of COVID when everything was closed down. And so, that also gave us some press coverage, which helped us to bring more awareness to the brand,
Yep,
into the business. But yeah, we just, we kind of took off, and from there it's been good. It's hard to say that as a business owner when I know that other people are struggling, right? Or if they're, they're on the verge of losing their business. But for us, it was extremely difficult. But from a business perspective, it's been really good for us. So
if I could kind of like take some points from that and from what I know about you guys is I think the reason for your success is you were agile, and you've always been agile because you're young business owners that have a fresh product and a fresh take on product and a fresh take on your marketing and social. So when it came to a situation like that, I wasn't as afraid for other business owners as a lot of the business owners were. I saw a lot of them get out of it unscathed, maybe a little better off.
Yeah.
The ones who didn't adapt were the ones that kind of fell to the wayside or didn't have proper planning ahead of time. And I think you guys did a really kick-ass job just getting yourself set up that way. And like, I'm so stoked that you guys as a staple are still around. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been like, yeah, like it, yeah, it's been good. And that's it exactly. Like you saw people adapt, change, and other people, if you've run a business for 20 or 25 years and all of a sudden something like this pops up,
yeah,
and that's hard. Like you'd be tired anyway, like, and then to do it, I just feel for those people because it's just such a tough place to be in.
Running a business that you started 20 years ago is very different than, even the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, totally.
And it's tough because they're living in a different world that relies on things that aren't necessarily online. So the brick and mortar can be affected if you don't look at all your alternatives and options. So, yeah.
Well, and I mean, another advantage was coffee and donuts is really takeout ready, right? We already had boxes, we already had cups, like it wasn't a hard switch for us to take out. If you're a restaurant who's never really run takeout or delivery before, to all of a sudden have to set that up, find packaging that works, like that stuff's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so it's draining and wearing for people for sure.
Yeah. Well, so I think the last thing I do want to touch on is the success that you've had. I think it's in due part to a lot of collaboration with other businesses, or at least collaboration in the social media standpoint, where you're reaching out, you're engaging people, you're trying to have a conversation with whether it's your customers or other businesses,
totally.
Or people in the news or anywhere like that. Can you talk about that a little more and what your strategy is for collaboration?
Yeah, for sure. Collaboration's an interesting thing. So before, like I said, Katie was really tied up in our brand, and so we actually were extremely careful who we collaborated with. We often get requests from other businesses or people who want to include us or have us involved in a giveaway or promotion that they're doing. But if our personal policy is, if we haven't used your product and we wouldn't actually recommend it, we're not gonna do that. And so because that's part of the factor, right? Marketing is know, like, and trust. And so if they know us and they like us and they trust us, then we don't want to abuse that for followers or growth or money even.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make sure that we really held that close. What we actually recently just did is we split our brand, I guess, essentially. So Katie has her own channel on Instagram and Facebook, and then we started a brand new kind of channel for Instagram and Facebook for the business, brick and mortar. And so there's still a lot of crossover between the two because Katie's still running them both. But we decided, and the reason for that is we decided that the business, to move to multi-location, or even to talk about your previous question, if we potentially moved into other cities or places like that, that local factor doesn't necessarily tie in as much anymore. And so we wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity for the brick and mortar to share more and do more collaborations. And so, our future planning for collaborations is, working with other local companies or providers to maybe create some unique toppings or ingredient collaborations. There's lots of potentials out there, and I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, there's some great other, artisanal shops and places in town that do stuff that would work really well if our products combined.
I know what that whole situation is like. Like Matt Barton's my first guest on the podcast, and so I'm friends with him, and I'm talking, and they always have things cooking that he can't talk about, and I understand. Like there's so many things that can go away or take like 2 years to manifest.
And that's the thing, right? Like, it might not work out. So yeah, until we know for sure, we never really try to spill the beans. But yeah, so that's one aspect of it. For us, how up until this point, our collaborations have often looked like I said, products that we've either tried or love. For us, it's trying to purchase as much local as possible. So supporting local companies, purchasing, all the flour, which is the main ingredient in our product, is a local organic farm. It's milled here, it's grown here. Any inclusions that we possibly can. There's certain things that you just can't buy in Saskatchewan or buy locally. But we enjoy highlighting those people because those people deserve to be known as well, right? They're a key part of the product. Aside from that, the charitable organizations or the organizations that we work with or partner with as our monthly donation partners, we like making sure that people are aware of them and their existence or what their needs are, or, if they have a fundraiser that's coming up, it's just nice to be able, we don't want to just take from the community. We want to be involved and be able to give back to the community. And so that's a really key piece of the collaboration portion. Often from our experience, when people use the word collaboration, it usually means I want to use your engaged followers for my benefit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so it's actually been pretty few and far between that it's been a mutually beneficial collaboration. But it doesn't mean it can't be done, right? And it's just got to be approached differently for people. That's all. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I think that's, and this is kind of the way that I approach collaborations on too, is in that trust factor. And the collaborations that I've seen with you or other small businesses around that are kind of in the same circle of everything is they do trust each other. And it's a lot of collaboration with people that you already are in the know of or already have been friends with or colleagues for a while. So it's not necessarily like going out and reaching every single new business and collabing. And maybe there's a different word for it, but that's always just been the mainstay, is to have businesses kind of work together and feed off each other and kind of promote each other's stuff. That's the way I look at it. And maybe it's too naive or altruistic.
No, that's a great way to do it, right? And we're always happy to highlight or promote people that, once again, that we like their products, right? Or especially are in the same circle. Often businesses can, and this is aside from collaboration, but they get into giveaways, and you have to follow like eight brands, and I'm like, for us to go along and team up with like a skincare studio and like all these things that just don't necessarily make sense to either our product, but also we really know who our target audience is, and so if these things don't make sense to our target audience, well, we're not gonna say yes to that, because we're not serving them, right? Like at the end of the day, my social media, our business, we're meant to serve our customers and serve our clients, and go out of our way to serve them, right? And so often, as business owners, we can get that kind of mixed up or backwards, and we think that the customers are there to serve us with their dollars. But it really should be the other way around. So
yeah, and like even this podcast, I got it launched, and I'm just talking to a lot of my friends and people around town, and it's not like obviously Everyday Kitchen has not paid for this. So I don't know if anyone's gonna take that as that, but the reason why I'm bringing you on here is just to pick your brain and get an idea of like where you came from the marketing world, how you're adapting to that in your business. Also like sharing in your success, because your success is Saskatchewan's success, is everyone else's success, and you guys should be lauded for like what you're doing. And I want to highlight that with other businesses. And I think that's, you guys are promoting that as well, but I see you promoting a lot of, where you're talking about the organizations that you guys are supporting with your proceeds over, whatever period of time. And that's a good way where you're trying to bring each other up. And
yeah, right. That's the goal, right? It's still, we're really just a city who's a big small town. And so, and I'm from a small town originally. And so it's all about looking after the people around you. And so, including other small businesses, right? Like, I mean, we know firsthand how hard it is to do this. And so it's important to us that people feel supported, and noticed, right? Often you can feel like maybe your business isn't getting recognition or no one knows you exist. So if we can take 5 minutes and highlight that, that's a cool thing to do.
It's very cool. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you being on, man. To end it off, do you want to tell us where they can find your stuff and what else is going on? Any new stuff?
No, I mean, there's always new stuff, but no more crazy new stuff. We got a new building opening up in September. That's right across the street from where we currently are, which is 1377 Hamilton Street, right in the warehouse district in Regina. And so, so we're open. Come on down, try it out.
I'll have links to all the social and everything in the
Awesome.
description
Thanks,
for
man.
everywhere. So, but yeah, again, man, I appreciate it being on, and I'll let you get to resting because National Donut Day, I'm sure, just kicked the crap out of you.
That'll be perfect. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.